So we're gonna start off talking about the Ford versus Ferrari movie. So let's start. First impressions right out of the theater. How'd you feel?
Right out of the theater, I had the biggest erection I've ever had in my entire fucking life.
Yeah, same. I could not get over how good that movie was. I was just like, holy shit, that was fucking fantastic.
Like I went and watched it with my buddies, who one of which is a car guy. So me and him were just sitting next to each other the whole time, just shitting our pants out of sheer excitement and nerding out over all these random cars. But like the one thing that got me about the entire movie was like I was able to leave that theater and my heart was fucking racing, because every time shit was going on screen that was like relatively intense, my heart was pounding out of my fucking chest.
Oh yeah.
That's how you know that's a good fucking movie.
Yeah, no, it was like I felt like I was in the car driving it. Like that's how immersive that experience was.
Yeah.
And like granted, I did watch it in I watched it in a ScreenX theater. Mm-hmm. Which, if you don't know what that is, that's a Regal thing where they have like screens on the side of the theater as well. And so I don't know if it's as immersive of a movie when you watch it just like at home on your parents' TV from 2015, but it in the theater it was just amazing. All the sounds of the cars were so real. Everything was just so well done. Even down to the Cobras with you could hear their solid rocker arms tapping, tap 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 when they were running, and it was just like, wow, that is fantastic.
They did a very good job, not just with noises or just the cars in general, but just like what you were saying, you felt like you were in the car. The immersion of that movie was unreal. And
just even from just a sound perspective, everything was mixed very well. So while the cars were very loud, and it sounded like they were very loud, which they would have been very loud, I could still hear the drivers. I could still hear what all the characters were saying. None of them were too quiet to hear, which is something that really pisses me off about movies lately, where you hear a shit ton of action and then they just whisper. And you're just like, what the fuck are you saying?
As opposed to half of anything you see nowadays. Like when I watch a fucking commercial on TV, all I hear is music, and I know there's someone talking back there, but all I hear is whatever fucking library-free music.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very, very good movie, and I very thoroughly enjoyed that movie, even just from everything. Like all the cars looked amazing. So yeah, we'll move on. So a couple days later, I watched. There are two documentaries on Netflix: the 24-Hour War, and then there's Shall Be American. And they're both made by the same company, and it's kind of funny. They use all the same clips to do both movies, basically. Like, the movies are basically the same movie. It's just one is more towards Shelby himself, and the other one is about Le Mans, with Ford versus Ferrari. And it's more about Ford. It's more Ford-centered. But it was a very... and just looking at it, it looks like there are some different things, and especially like when you're watching the movie, the Ford versus Ferrari, you see when like he has brake fade. You see in that scene in the first time, you see that scene where his brake rotors are all bright red.
On fucking fire.
Those are drilled and slotted brake rotors there. You can like very easily see that. Mm-hmm. And I think they just did that for like a Hollywood thing, like it's because those cars did not have drilled and slotted brake rotors. You can look at the pictures and stuff from their quick change brake system that they developed, which I thought that showed very well. I thought it was really cool.
That was god tier.
But I thought it was they did not have drilled and slotted brake rotors like that. However, it is a cool addition that they put on that car, and you could kind of tell here and there that those cars, none of the cars were original. Not that you even can get original cars like that these days, like the Shelby, the Cobra.
The Cobras were all fakes.
You could tell they were. I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
I know the Porsche right in the very beginning, that was actually real. What was that, a 944? Or no?
Yeah, probably. But you can tell that like the Cobras are not original just because of the way they bounce. Like, you know, when they're going over a little bit bumpy, you can tell they bounce a little bit because they have stiffer springs. Nothing like that bounced like that back then, because everything had very soft springs compared to what most cars have nowadays. So. Okay, Jacob, I expected you to talk, but I guess we weren't having it.
I mean, it's hard to carry off what you're going. I mean, you're hitting all the big points. Which, granted, no, it's fine. It's fine.
I took a drink, and I was like, I really hope he talks when I take this drink. And you just like silent. I'm like, fuck.
Okay, well here, let me talk for it. I gotta say, I think the choice of actors along with the movie was a lot more A-list than you would have expected for a movie of this caliber. That the general population, probably 99% of them, doesn't give a shit about racing in general. They might know a couple cars here and there. They might, some of the boomers might vaguely remember the name Carroll Shelby. But I mean, like, half my friends are just like, why is this important? And I'm sitting there shitting my pants when these trailers came out, just like, Le Mans 66 GT40 nut, and they're just watching me shit my pants as I'm watching this trailer over and over again.
Like, why? Yeah, I don't watch trailers for movies anymore, because if I watch the trailer, I get way too hyped up, and then the movie itself is always a letdown. Like, especially for like the new Star Wars movies, there's so much hype and stuff behind them that when they actually come out, everybody's like, oh, well, that wasn't really that good.
Yeah, we don't talk about Star Wars anymore.
Overhyped.
We don't talk about Star Wars anymore.
Well,
the only good thing Star Wars has done is The Mandalorian.
Have you caught up on that?
Yeah.
I haven't been watching it at all.
Spoiler warning, potential. Spoiler warning, potential. Baby Yoda, give me Food Gummy.
Well, okay, is it good? Can we just like
quick
synopsis? Is it?
I love it.
I was watching it without sound once, and like watching it over a friend's shoulder, and they had headphones on, so I couldn't hear it. But it looked like the fight choreography was very poorly done.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Like, any physical confrontation is a little awkward, except for like the fourth episode. I think the fight was very well choreographed and very well executed. But I mean, like, I think the visual effects are really well done. The story leaves a little bit.
It looks like the costumes are pretty good.
The costumes are very good. I think the story leaves a little bit more to be expected, but I think it is very early in the series and the season, so we might see more coming. I mean, I don't know. Right now, I like it. I think it's the best thing Star Wars has put out in a fat minute.
I mean, Rogue One was good. That's
Rogue
the
One
last
was very
Star Wars
good.
movie that I
and
really
I personally,
liked,
I loved Solo. I thought Solo was really good.
I did not like Solo. It was just whack to me.
I liked it. The casting, overall story, I enjoyed it.
Really? I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought the story was just kind of like, huh, that just happened.
It's kind of how all those little spin-off tie-in movies are, though. Like,
Well,
Rogue One is clearly the best one, but...
Yeah, I thought Rogue One was almost a masterpiece. Like, Rogue One is up there with, like, Into the Spider-Verse for me, which is one of my all-time favorite movies right now.
Amen.
But, yeah, there's a lot of good movies, but Ford versus Ferrari, overall, very good. Really enjoyed it. Really liked it. Christian Bale as Ken Miles was very good, although they seem to want to drive home the point, like, exclusively that he was British. And, like, yeah, he was a British person, but he didn't always talk that Britishly, and, like, everything he would say would be like, all right, good chap.
He sounds
and,
more
like,
Australian than he does British.
Yeah, because he talks out of the side of his mouth.
Yeah.
Like, they would make fun of him for that. I don't remember. They called him a nickname because of it. Like, just because he talked
Bulldog.
out of the side of his mouth. Well, in the movie, yeah. I don't think that was the name they called him. If you watch the movie, if you watch those documentaries on Netflix, they're pretty well put together. They're interesting to watch. They use a lot of footage from the race itself, and they're pretty cool. But if you watch them, they called him like side mouth something.
Side mouth Ken.
I don't remember.
Side mouth Susan. Sloppy Susan. Don't mind me. I'm retarded.
We're all retarded here. That's why it's called CarTards.
Yeah.
Dab.
Shameless plug. You're shameless.
Well, it's not even a shameless plug. You're literally on a video that says CarTards Podcast.
While you're there, like
6.
and subscribe, and hit the bell while you're at it. Ring a ding.
Yeah. Do I have a bell in here?
I don't know.
Beer bottle will have to do.
I hit my hydro flask if that makes any difference.
Wow, that's actually a pretty good ding.
Yeah, that's the noise.
Yeah, hit that ding. Get notified about our posts. We don't post very often.
You know, I mean, for as good of a job as Ford vs Ferrari did about telling the overall general story, they're I don't know, they hit a lot of the big things right on the head, but there were just some smaller details like the relationship between Ken and Shelby.
Mm-hmm.
It was not that volatile.
Yeah, their relationship wasn't that close. Like, they had a decently close relationship, but I don't think it was. It didn't, from the documentaries, it didn't seem like it was that close. Like, he was close. Miles was closer to Agapao. He was the like young dude with dark hair that was always really excited during the movie. That was Agapao, something like that. And he was closer to him. Miles was closer to him than he was to Shelby. So, and like you could, in the movie, it always showed Shelby being like, you know, always against what Ford had to do because he was like, oh, it's my freedom, blah blah blah. But he really like, you know, he knew he worked for Ford and he basically did what Ford asked him to.
Yeah.
Like, he was not always against it like they said, like they made it seem.
Yeah, no, in reality, I mean, if he would have behaved that way, they would have ditched Shelby America in a heartbeat. Like, no doubt.
Yeah, it was not quite as, he was not.
None of the relationships were quite that volatile. Not even with BB. BB was not that big of a dickhead.
Yeah.
At all.
I don't know about BB. Like, it doesn't ever talk about in those documentaries. It doesn't ever talk about BB at all, really.
So everything I've watched and read says BB was not close to what he was in the movie. He was.
Yeah. I mean, maybe behind the scenes, like when people didn't really realize, and that's why he was such a slithery scumbag. And like one person like came out against him when they were telling the storytellers of the movie, the directors of the movie, like what it was like.
That or either someone had a vendetta against him. But I mean, I feel like they just used BB to drive home the fact of just corporate bullshit.
Yeah, because there is a lot of that, especially at Ford.
Yeah.
That's why I never want to work at a big corporation.
He was literally the token suit of the movie. He was a good scapegoat for all their problems. I mean, I guess it just worked out really well for a storytelling and convenience standpoint.
It was whack, though, at first, with what's-his-face playing Lee Iacocca.
Hey! Iacocca.
I forgot his name.
I can't think of his name either, but like I always like look for him in like action movies. He
plays the Punisher. He plays the Punisher, and so it's just weird seeing him as like Lee Iacocca.
Yeah, he was such a menacing type of presence, but yet he was just Lee Iacocca. Lee Iacocca was just the dude.
Iacocca. It's Iacocca.
Iacocca,
no T.
tomato.
Fucking idiot.
Sorry, Lee.
Yeah, he's gonna come and just fucking destroy you.
He'll give me a fucking hug because it's Lee Iacocca.
But he's... Oh my god. Can you hear that?
I don't hear... I heard a little bit of howling in the back.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that was Ford versus Ferrari. And overall, I would give that... Like, I'm no movie critic. I would give that movie like a 9 out of 10, though. I really liked that
movie. It gets
movie.
a 9.5 wrenches out of 10 wrenches for me. Good movie. Would watch again. Will buy. Will force my family to watch, even though they don't give two shits about cars. And from a cinematic standpoint, it's very well put together. The shots are amazing. The writing's pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was very, very, very well done. I thoroughly enjoyed.
Good movie, Cargo Fast.
In
Yes.
that movie. Yes.
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 Yes, car go fast.
Mm-hmm. But another thing that was weird was it always looked like in the documentary that the Ferrari was not the Ferrari that was in Ford, like the movie Ford versus Ferrari. It looked like
not the P3 330.
And I don't know if they just did that because they knew the other Ferrari looked better, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. All I know is in Forza Motorsport 7 that if that retard would not have revved his car to 9,000 RPM, Ferrari would have won that race because it is a much easier car to drive.
Is it easier?
At least in Forza it is.
I know the biggest problem with the GT40 was its brakes would not stay cool, and they didn't have the brake materials at the time.
Yeah, because carbon ceramic brakes were not even a twinkle in engineers' eyes.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
Well, they didn't have the materials that would take those heat cycles like that, because it'd go to 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh yeah, he would literally boil the brakes coming off the straight, no doubt.
Yeah, every time coming out of that Mulsanne straight. Yeah, it was a very very hard on brakes for that. Especially going from 200 some odd miles per hour.
Really just like, why don't we just replace the entire upper assembly?
Yeah, it was so funny to me how they just pulled that whole A-arm out.
Yeah. They
got a little bit of flack for that from the FIA.
Well, but it didn't break the rules, did it?
Nope.
That's what I thought.
It's funny. What makes me the most angry is that they robbed the way Ford just robbed 10 miles of because of the dead heat. Like, I understand that they liked that picture, and that is a very good picture.
It's fucking iconic.
That's such an iconic picture, but they nonetheless they robbed Ken Miles of that win, and they robbed him of, like, he would have been the one person to have won all three of those events, Daytona and
Sebring,
all three of those events.
Daytona, Sebring, and Le Mans. Yeah.
Yeah, he would have won all three of those that year, and they just completely robbed him of it.
Yep, corporate horseshit, gotta love it.
1, 2, 3 finish. They would have had the 1, 2, 3 finish.
Yeah,
that's
I feel like if
thing.
Ken literally would have just like had his nose ahead, the picture would have been perfectly.
His massive nose. He had a huge nose. He had a bigger nose than I do.
Yeah, that man had a schnoz. But I mean, like the nose of his car. If he would have been not even half a car length ahead, the picture would have been infinitely still iconic.
Miles was such a fast driver because if he just sticks his nose up, he has extra downforce.
Yeah, that's how the ass end of that car stayed planted. No, just kidding. It was the massive fucking wheels that thing had.
Well, yeah, and he did so much fucking work on that to make it actually drive right.
Yeah.
Him,
Shelby, the other engineers they had on staff.
Yeah, the one main engineer who always was working on stuff. I forgot his name. I know his name. I forgot it. It was like no, it's not Wes. I don't remember. It's not important anyway.
God tier engineer guy. Saves the day again.
Very smart man. Very smart man.